All right, Mark. I love it when you do that countdown.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Greetings, citizens! You're now trapped in the NerdCage with your hosts Mark and Jay. We hope you have a smashing good time.
It has begun!
You are about to witness the strength of geek knowledge. Hello and welcome. That's right, you're trapped in NerdCage Live. This ain't just a reaction show, but a debate show and a live discussion on everything that makes people like you and I tick. So thank you for joining us tonight. Please hit that like button and subscribe. I'm your co-host, Jay St. G, certified geek, 7 days a week, coming to you live from Syracuse, New York. And tonight, I'm introducing all the awesomeness that you see on your screen. Above me, as always, the warrior from Wakanda, the fiend from Louisville, my man, Mark Withers. And on the dominant side, from the depths of Dallas, Texas, standing taller than the Tokyo Tower, weighing in at 11,000 subscribers, the sexual Tyrannosaurus who ain't got time to bleed, but tonight, I'm gonna try to make him bleed. Behold, the mighty Titangoji Davis. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, I'm very glad to be here myself. And for those who don't know, my name is Davis Madol, also known as Titangoji. I am a content creator on YouTube, and I basically do movie reviews on numerous kaiju films, some tokusatsu works here and there, and some anime as well.
Thanks for joining us, man, and welcome. We're really happy to have you. And, as Jay was saying, as we were sort of talking off stage, I am not into, it's not that I'm not into it, but I know absolutely nothing about kaiju, tokusatsu, none of that stuff. So having you here is a big deal because you can kind of school me on some of that stuff. Let me know where to get started, all that stuff.
Sweet. In that case, I'm even more glad to be here.
Yeah. I am a blank slate.
I've grown up watching Godzilla movies ever since I was 4 years old. My dad took my oldest brothers and I to Best Buy one day, and we got the PlayStation 2 game Godzilla Save the Earth. And my brothers and I, we were all over that game, and my dad told us about the Godzilla movie franchise. And thankfully, this was either late 2003 or 2004 when Godzilla movies were starting to pop up on DVD here and there, and the next day he took us to the mall, and we got the classic media box set that had the original Godzilla, well, technically not the original, but the American version, Godzilla King of the Monsters, the original Rodan, Mothra vs. Godzilla, Godzilla's Revenge, and Terror of Mechagodzilla. And Terror of Mechagodzilla was actually the very first Godzilla movie I ever watched, and since then, I've been hooked on the whole kaiju genre, ever since.
That's cool. What is it about these kind of movies that excites you? Is it the monsters themselves? Is it the destruction that happens in a lot of the scenes? Like what is it that like kind of drew you in and kind of made you a kaiju fan?
So when you're a very impressionable young child, you're always fascinated by these these giant colossal fantasy creatures. And what makes Godzilla appealing, or what would make him appealing to a child, is that he's very reminiscent of a dinosaur or a fire-breathing dragon. And there's definitely that appeal going for him. And you also have like all these like insane and unique creature designs as well, like Titanosaurus, Gigan, Megalon, Anguirus, King Ghidorah, Mothra, like Godzilla's entire rogues gallery, if you will, is incredibly unique. And as you grow older, you start to realize the importance Godzilla has, like in Japan, and how he was originally made as like this metaphor for the nuclear bomb after the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and coming from a country that experienced such horrors firsthand, really makes the original Godzilla really such a powerful film on its own. And another very interesting thing is how Godzilla isn't always a bad guy. He's a good guy in some films. He's portrayed as a father figure in some movies as well. And so you have Godzilla like taking on all these like different roles as you watch each movie. Like the original Godzilla, like Godzilla in that one, he's very different from the Godzilla you see in Son of Godzilla. And what really hits it home is that Godzilla is really more of a concept than he is a character of sorts. And it really allows like filmmakers enough freedom to pretty much depict him in any particular way without taking so much from like the essence of that original character.
Right.
Like the way I'm looking at it, he's really the embodiment of mankind's wrongdoings, and pretty much begs the question as to whether we should stand up and embrace, what we've done, as the human race after committing all these atrocities on Earth, or should we just sweep it under the rug, forget about it, hope it goes away?
Right. So as if you're talking to like a complete newcomer, someone's like really into the idea, because as I've said in other episodes that I have never watched any of these movies, but I love to hear you guys talk about it. I love like the terminology and the names of some of these monsters and like everything that you guys are talking about. Like for like, let's say you were doing like a Kaiju 101, and you said like, okay, I want you to watch this film, this film, this film. Like what would like the first 3 films that you would give a newbie? Okay,
so I would definitely recommend the original Godzilla, and I would also recommend the original Rodan from 1956, because not only is it Toho, same guys who did Godzilla, and Rodan does end up in the Godzilla series later on. It does borrow some cues from the original Godzilla, but it's not necessarily played out as a metaphor, but it's almost like a horror film, like a classic kaiju horror movie, and I really love the atmosphere of the original Rodan. And as for the third movie, I would recommend the original Mothra from 1961, because sure, like I have talked about how kaiju movies started off all doom and gloom, but Mothra is a really fun movie. Right. It's a movie you can watch anytime and just have fun with. it's not all dark and serious. It's a thrill. It's quite a ride.
Right. Awesome.
Those are some pretty good choices. Okay, before I get to my 3 picks for Mark, shout out to the chat, Off the Beaten Podcast, bonus commentary, Scott Bannock, Adam from Scribe Productions, Paul Tackett, he's our regular Cat F. Juggler's Juggler is here today, so thank you for joining us tonight. Let's party on. So,
what's up, guys?
So Davis and I, we would love to gently lure Mark in, because we're not going to just dump all these 50 of these movies. Like, hey, Mark, look at all these movies, watch them. So. Yeah. I got three my recommendations of my own, plus kind of like an honorable mention. So I agree with Davis 100%. The original 1954 Mark. Can't stress it enough. I feel like it's a mandatory watch for like anybody. And then I'm gonna go off to Shin Gojira, to everything we talked about off camera. I feel like that one is a great standalone movie to check out, and it's similar to 1954, but modernized. And then my third movie, I'm gonna have to say Kong Skull Island.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I think it's the best MonsterVerse movie, and I feel like there's a lot of good star power there. And
truly.
I feel like the star power and like it's a fast-paced movie. It's a lot of fun, not too complicated. I think it's a good one to lure him in. And then finally, as my honorable mention, as much as I hate these movies personally, but knowing Mark, who's a huge anime fan, knows so much about anime, I think he should watch the first anime trilogy, Godzilla. I just think that I think for some reason, something tells me Mark will either really love that movie or really hate it. But I'm leaning towards he'll love it a lot because of his, because he's into anime. So that's my honorable mention, even though it's not my personal favorite at all. But I would recommend it to Mark just knowing him.
All right, and is it cool if I also bring up an honorable mention since you did one? Okay, so I basically picked the original Godzilla, Rodan, and Mothra as like a bit of a kaiju crash course, if you will.
Right. But
my honorable mention would be, I know Jay isn't a big fan of these movies, but I highly recommend the 90s Gamera trilogy: Gamera Guardian of the Universe, Gamera Attack of Legion, and Gamera Revenge of Iris. Like a lot of kaiju fans have said that those are some of, if not the greatest kaiju films ever made. And Mark, since you're also an anime guy, these movies do feel pretty anime-esque, especially the third one.
Yeah.
Oh, right on. Cool.
So look at the
I was watching your channel earlier today, and I noticed there was one video where you were kind of talking up when you mentioned Gamera. You were talking up like a Gamera movie that came out, I guess, in 2006. I don't remember the title.
Gamera the Brave.
Gamera the Brave. Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
Are you not a fan of it, Jay? I saw that look on your face.
I think it's terrible. I'd rather watch the Gamera. I think the Gamera trilogy is miles better than Gamera the Brave. And I just want to point out the chat right now. Shout out to my buddy Takala, who I used to play football with. Nice to see you in here. Scribe Productions is screaming to the ends of the earth right now. He's saying, Mark, the anime trilogy. And Paul Tackett's got some interesting choices. He says Guyver to Inframan and to Ultraman to 54 Godzilla is his picks.
Okay. All right. Now I'm familiar with Ultraman. I used to watch that when I was a kid, but the rest of it I'm not too familiar with at all. So I definitely will check all that out.
And Mark just subscribed to HBO Max, so he has access to all the Showa movies.
Sweet.
So
I also want to mention, Mark, Mill Creek Entertainment is releasing the entire Ultraman series by each show on Blu-ray. Right now they've released all the classic ones up to Ace, and they're also kind of going backwards with like the more modern Ultraman stuff. Mm-hmm. And like for the past 2 years, it's been a blast being an Ultraman fan. Like I know we'll get to this. We'll talk about this particular film later.
Yeah.
But as Godzilla vs. Kong just keeps getting delayed, I just took that opportunity to get into Ultraman, and I'm loving what I'm seeing so far.
Right on.
Okay, so you just brought up Godzilla vs. Kong, so I'm so glad you did, because this was something we almost talked about last week, and then Mark's like, no, save that for Titangoji, and he's absolutely right. So, and we'll also get into the HBO Max thing. So, Godzilla vs. Kong is indeed coming. We haven't gotten a trailer yet.
Here's hoping. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So Davis, go ahead. What do you gotta say about Godzilla vs. Kong as far as leading up to the movie? How you feel about it coming out, and so on and so forth.
I was definitely hyped when they announced that Godzilla and Kong would be doing doing a rematch. Last time I thought was 1962, and it seems like kaiju films are starting to become even more mainstream than they were before. So now is definitely a better time for that legendary, no pun intended, rematch. and now I really enjoyed Godzilla 2014 when that came out. I loved Kong Skull Island. I liked King of the Monsters, and on one hand, I can't help but be excited for Godzilla vs. Kong. I'm definitely gonna watch it day one when it's out.
Yep, absolutely.
But
where in the theater or on your TV screen?
Both.
By the way, Bo's commentary just said in the chat that I don't know how true this is. He just said that March 21st is the new release day. I don't know if he's referring to Godzilla vs. Kong or what, but if that's true, that's news to me. Because last we knew it was May 21st.
Yeah, I think it might still be May 21st. I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything about that March release date.
I wouldn't be shocked if they did push it forward though, just because they maybe want to keep the HBO Max subscribers coming in.
I guess we'll talk about the little beef that's going on between Warner Brothers and Legendary at the moment.
Yeah.
But as I was saying, as Godzilla vs. Kong just kept getting delayed due to powers beyond our control.
Right.
I did mention how I saw it as an opportunity to get into some other stuff. I've been watching Ultraman, just to kind of fill that hole in my chest, and it's as time goes on, my excitement for the film slowly just lowers.
Yeah.
There has
Okay, he corrected. It is May 21st. Okay, he corrected. It is May 21st. Okay.
Oh, okay. And over the weekend there has been very small snippets of footage that came out during. I forget what it was called, but we saw a shot of Godzilla and a shot of Kong, and it didn't really faze me all that much, honestly. In my head, I was thinking, okay, so it's still happening.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, here's the thing, though. All the delays do worry me, because this movie was being delayed before the pandemic even started. I'm sure the lukewarm... I'm not going to say Godzilla King of the Monsters was a flop, but it wasn't a astounding success either. I'm sure that may have caused them, to think for a moment. On top of that, for those who don't know, I don't know the gentleman's name, but the guy who did the special effects for that movie, Christopher Robin, which was the most worst special effects I've ever seen in my life, did the special effects for Godzilla vs. Kong. So some of that worries me a little bit, and not to name names, but I have heard some of the leaks of the movie, and I heard everything about the movie if it turns out to be true, and I'm just like, the movie doesn't sound like it's going to be it doesn't sound like it's well put together, and knowing everything I know, if it's true, kind of killed my excitement a little bit. That's just me personally.
I feel that, and me personally, I tend to take leaks with a grain of salt, because sometimes they're true, sometimes they're not.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the same person that leaked King of the Monsters, well, surprise, it was all true. So that's why I'm really leaning towards okay, And if you connect the dots and you look at the toys that that came out, it's all looking So, but I am very excited that I get to see it in the comfort of my own home, and I'm gonna defend this decision real quick. Again, I kind of I mentioned you guys off camera, but my father's got MS. He can't go to a movie theater. I've begged him to go to movies with me so many times, and he just doesn't have it in him to do it. So for Godzilla vs. Kong, I get to bring over my HBO Max subscription, and I get to show my dad when it comes out. So that's the beauty of it, is for people who are afraid to go to the movie theaters, for people who aren't capable of going or too afraid to go and don't want to take the risk. You know what? I like, at the end of the day, I like this decision. And I'm actually going to be watching Godzilla vs. Kong the moment it hits, like right at midnight. I'm going to watch it like right at midnight, and I'm going to call in sick.
That's good, man.
Well, you probably shouldn't announce that on YouTube, that you're going to call in sick.
Well, you're talking 6 months down the road, and I don't think any of my coworkers are watching, so.
Have faith. They probably are all tuned in right now.
All right, well, let's look at some of these chats here. Brian from Monstrosity is here. Says, sorry, I'm related, stupid work getting in the way. Adam from Scry says, no matter what anyone says, streaming Godzilla vs. K as well as other movies will net Warner Brothers way more money than just a theater release. I have numbers. Paul Attacker says,
I disagree with that.
Inframan is Shaw Brothers' attempt to do tokusatsu. And, great points everyone brings up here.
Cool.
Mark, you say you disagree. I want to hear what your take is.
There really isn't a whole lot of evidence to show that you can really make the same kind of money streaming that you can in the box office. You know what I mean? Especially if they've, like, what was the budget on this thing?
155.
It was like 155 million, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there really hasn't been, historically speaking, a movie that has gone to like a PVOD platform or a streaming platform that has been made for over $30 million that has generated any type of a profit. So I could be wrong. I'm not an expert. I'm just a pundit. But just looking at the historical numbers, I just don't see that happening.
Shout out to Shay Smithers. Thank you for coming in here. He says, I think there's a little bit of a chance more people will see Godzilla vs. Kong than they did King of the Monsters, just to the fact that it will be Godzilla versus Kong, two of the most iconic monsters. Yeah, I agree to that. I mean, I feel like Godzilla vs. Kong, just the name alone, should generate hopefully more than what King of the Monsters did. But I mean, and hopefully it gets better praise. But we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, everything I know about the movies kind of killed my excitement a little bit. But hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully I'll be caught by surprise. Maybe this movie turns out to be a hit, and maybe this will be one of the biggest draws for HBO Max moving forward.
Oh, yeah, and I'll also go ahead and say that if the MonsterVerse ends on Godzilla vs. Kong, then so be it. Yeah. Not many film franchises nowadays can say that they've made it to four movies.
Exactly. We got four. Movies. Be happy.
Yeah, and in terms of you have this You have this giant 30+ movie franchise. I think if we're going to include the 1998 Godzilla 5 American kaiju films in that singular franchise, I think that's enough. It's good.
It's a good run. I mean, some people will say, well, like you said, hey, they got 4 movies. That's a pretty damn good run.
Oh yeah.
Because look at Godzilla 98. They had 3 movies planned, and then the moment the box office results came in, they scrapped it. So
I mean, Godzilla 1998 wasn't necessarily a bomb when it came out. It's just it wasn't received very well.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. Even I was in 5th grade when it came out, and I remember even I walked out of the theater let down. The first thing that came to my mind was, why did Godzilla run away from the airplanes? It bothered me that he was running away. I'm that's not what Godzilla does. I mean, there's a lot more problems with that movie, but as a kid, I was like, wait, Godzilla doesn't run away.
Yeah. You really got to look at 1998 as like its own like standard generic monster rampage film, because that's basically what it is.
And it was basically, and they definitely copied and pasted from Jurassic Park too.
Yeah. Because there's that whole dinosaur craze going on in the 90s, so might as well capitalize on it by taking from Jurassic Park.
Right.
So I guess we can gently segue more into the HBO Max thing. So Legendary, who did produce 75% of the movie, but Warner Brothers has 100% of the distribution rights, and Legendary is losing their goddamn mind, and they are taking Warner Brothers to court. Quick, my take on it. I think it's going to get thrown out of court before it even gets there.
Wow.
I don't think Legendary has a leg to stand on when it comes to like, suing, throughout the fact that this movie's not going to theaters. Well, I mean it is, but not. I just think I think Legendary's going to lose this court case. So, gentlemen, what do you guys got?
Like mention that for those unaware, after Warner Brothers made the announcement that they're going to release their entire 2021 slate onto HBO Max, it was revealed that Legendary was not aware of this plan at all.
No one was.
No one at all, and that pretty much initiated this whole beef that's going on between Legendary and Warner Brothers.
Yeah, so I'll jump in here too, and in addition to that, because I'd heard that same thing too, what I'd also heard is that that was sort of payback for Tenet. So for anybody who hasn't heard about this, everybody thinks that Christopher Nolan wanted that July date to be that was his decision, for that to be a hard and fast date. He was totally open to moving the date, but he had a proviso in his contract that said this movie cannot be released within 6 weeks of another Warner Brothers movie. And so initially Warner Brothers wanted to move Tenet to December, but Dune was going to be in the way of that. And so Legendary was urging Warner Brothers to move Dune to 2021, which they were refusing to do at the time. And so it was Legendary's decision to keep the July date and everything, and let the chips fall where they may. And so the word on the street is that Warner Brothers didn't let Legendary know about the decision as retaliation for having them lose all this money on Tenet.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a whole lot to unpack here. I mean, it's not just a beef between HBO Max and Legendary, and I know a lot of people have been online and kind of saying like, oh, it's just everybody's mad about the move itself. We're in a pandemic, and what's HBO Max supposed to do? What's Warner Brothers supposed to do? I don't think anybody's particularly upset with the decision to do it. They wanted to be a part of the decision. And as Legendary is their primary financier in a lot of these movies, you would think that they would at least get a phone call or an email like, hey, this is what we're planning to do, because it actually affects their return on their investment. They're definitely not going to make any money on any of these movies now. And they've invested billions of dollars at this point. I mean, that can't be understated. And it's the same, the same goes for, the directors involved who have put their time and energy into these movies, the actors involved. And there's a lot of back-end deals, where the majority of the money that these performers and these directors and producers, the majority of the money that they were planning to make off these movies were coming off of these trigger deals that were put in place by Warner Brothers. Well, now they're not going to hit those targets, so they're not going to get, 10% or 1% first dollar gross or 0.5% first dollar gross. It's not going to happen for them. Right. So it's a little bit shady.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? didn't say anything. They could have, at the very least, they could have consulted everybody and said, look, we're in a pandemic. This is kind of, we're going to lose money on these movies if we continue to hold on to them. This is what we have to do.
Yeah. I just want to point out something in the chat here. So there's a conversation going on between Paul and Brian in the chat right now, and there's an interesting point here. Paul points out that The Irishman on Netflix was a $159 million budget. That is bigger than Godzilla vs. Kong budget-wise, and that was a hit on Netflix. So I'm just saying, there's maybe an opportunity there. Godzilla vs. Kong could still make money on this platform.
Right, but just because something was a hit on a streaming platform doesn't mean that the movie itself made money. And that's kind of the gray area. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really know the ratings on The Irishman. Mm-hmm. I don't know too many details about that. But it's unlikely that, because in order for a movie to be profitable, in order for a movie to even break even, it has to make 1.5 of at least
3 times the budget to be a success.
In order for it to be profitable, it has to make about 3 times.
Yeah, another thing
you're just not going to get that off of streaming.
And again, in defense of Warner Brothers and HBO Max, I just want to point out some people in chat may not know this, but I'm going to say it right here, right now, because I'm using my platform to my advantage right now. When a studio produces a movie, it's just like taking a loan out. So when you got like a movie that's got a $150 million budget, well, guess what? Interest is going to accrue every day, every month. So when you have a movie that's sitting there being delayed, interest is accumulating for the studio, and that's how the studio loses money. And then on top of that, they got to make more splash marketing and this, and that. So you know what? With a lot of these movies like Godzilla vs. Kong, which is postponed many times, Wonder Woman 84 was another one that was postponed several times. You can't just let these movies sit there because the studios are losing money because the interest keeps building up. So they said, fuck it, we're going to release these movies now, cut our losses, and you know what, we'll try. And this, it's in the long, okay, so listen, in the short term, they're going to lose money because they're not going to get the kind of return that they would get in the theaters and stuff back when the theaters were in their heyday. But in the long run, this is great for HBO Max and Warner Brothers because it's going to make more subscribers, and people are going to ride the subscriber waves to watch these movies. So in the talking long-term success, this is a great move. It really is.
Right, and I agree. I mean, it's their only move at this point, but it is, all things considered. I mean, this is probably the way to go, as opposed to just like kind of dumping like a movie or two and then like risking, people, a large subscribership, and then those people sort of unsubscribe as soon as they've seen the movie. Mm-hmm. If you time these just right so that one comes out, another one comes out, another one comes out, people are going to tend to want to hold on to these memberships. Yeah. And that, long term, this could be a big win for them.
And we had some really, really huge backlash from not just Legendary, but Patty Jenkins has been pretty vocal about it. James Gunn. James Gunn is pissed. And then Christopher Nolan again. So those are like they're like really, really going at it right now. Now Gal Gadot. Now she's extremely classy lady. We love you, Gal, by the way. And we hope you join us on our Wonder Woman watch party on January 14th. We'd love to have you join us. Anywho. So but Gal Gadot, she's doing her thing. She's all over social media promoting Wonder Woman 84. Like there's no tomorrow, like kind of like how we promoted our show on social media. But Gal Gadot every day keeps posting about Wonder Woman 84, going to stream, nonstop. And she's doing her work. But like Patty Jenkins, she's upset. She's not helping the cause. And James Gunn is extremely pissed off. He was caught off guard. And of course Christopher Nolan had his huge run-in. So guys, what are your take on them 3 directors from their perspective?
I definitely understand why they would be pretty pissed off about it. If I were to be making a movie that I've had, the mindset of, okay, this is going to be in theaters, this is going to make huge money for us, and then just to hear that. My heart would sink, admittedly, but like what Mark was saying earlier, like sure, movies can like be huge hits like on streaming, but there is that sort of like gray area when all comes down to it, because no one's really like 100% sure as to how money will be made off these movies once they're placed on streaming. It's a lot more easier to calculate in a theater. So it's the gray area in the streaming part that's like the uncertainty here. It kind of makes it kind of makes things a little mysterious in a way.
Yeah. Right. And I think it's worth mentioning too that it kind of opens the door to the elephant in the room, which is piracy. So the minute that this goes to HBO Max, it's going to be pirated. I mean, movies get pirated all the time, but it's going to be that much easier for this film to be pirated. These films to be pirated. So you have that to deal with as well. That's going to diminish subscriberships. That's going to diminish like paid viewing. So there's that aspect of it. But going back to like the Patty Jenkins thing, interestingly enough, she actually got like the prescribed bonus that was in her trigger deal, which is another reason why a lot of other directors are upset. They're not upset at Patty, but basically, like both she and Gal Gadot had these back-end deals in place that said, okay, we're like, Warner Brothers was like, okay, we're going to give you each an additional $10 million if this movie hits $1 billion. Right. So the decision was made to put this on HBO Max directly. We know it's not going to make $1 billion there. Yeah. We know that. But they decided that, okay, well, we're going to give you the bonus as if it did make $1 billion. They didn't offer those types of deals.
They didn't have to do that.
Any of the other right. They didn't have to do that. There's nothing in their contracts that compel them to do that. But they didn't offer anything like that to any of the other filmmakers or any of the other actors. And these are all, the movies that we're talking about are all big tentpole films. But nobody was offered anything like that. And there's like there's sort of an anger about that. Well, why do they get this thing and you're not even going to let us know that this is happening? You know what I mean? So I just want people to understand that this isn't just like a bunch of old like industry people that are just trying to buck the system and trying to buck innovation. That's not what's going on here. What's going on is that like you make a deal with somebody and you go to bed thinking that it's one thing and you wake up and it's something completely different and it's out of your control and you feel like you've been screwed over because the person that you're dealing with is not on the up and up with you. They're not like being honest with you. And that's really what this is about.
So Brian from Monstrosities made an interesting note here and I was not aware of this. He said that Patty Jenkins just got an offer from Disney to direct a Star Wars movie in 2023.
Yeah.
So she's already jumping ship.
And I think you're going to see a lot of that. I mean, I think some of this will probably die down. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like studios make big mistakes, they make big blunders, and they kind of burn they burn large groups of people, right? Yeah. So right now, the industry is going from calling them Warner Bros to former bros. Like that's kind of like the hashtag. So like, actors don't want to deal with them right now. Directors, no agents, like no agencies want like their clients to do any upcoming projects with Warner Brothers because of this deal. But I think that eventually this will all get moved over. But that said, you're going to have like studios like Disney that are going to take advantage of this moment and swoop in and try and offer these other filmmakers like big deals like that.
I got two things to add to that. One is that if Wonder Woman, let's say Wonder Woman 84 has a successful like run here on HBO Max, you're right. Maybe things will calm down a little bit and say, hey, look at the results that we got. And two, let's just say all these directors and actors, they all jump ship and whatever. You know what? Maybe this will give an opportunity for some lesser-known directors, people like Yoko Higuchi, to get an opportunity to work at Warner Brothers, or some unknown actors and actresses who may not have gotten a shot. Maybe this will open the door for some, up-and-coming actors and actresses and directors and stuff. Just saying, if that turns out to be, if we get a lot of people, making this shift over to, Mickey Mouse and his friends over there.
I really hope Yoko is watching this.
Oh yeah, shout out. I wanted to compliment him. So yeah, I know you're friends with him, and I know Yoko is a big DC fan and Zack Snyder fan too. So I definitely share his passion when it comes to those movies and stuff. So so shout out to Yoko Higuchi for real.
So my take on that is that that there's a possibility that could happen. Mm-hmm. A lot of lesser known directors. Maybe not the person that you named, but there are a lot of lesser-known directors that would, probably jump at the chance. But a lot of them are also part of. But a lot of them are also part of the Directors Guild, and the Directors Guild is talking about like a guild-wide boycott of Warner Brothers films. So if that happens, they're not going to be able to use any directors that are inside that guild. And a lot of your quality directors are part of that. In addition to that, you have a lot of Warner Brothers films that are currently in production with directors that are within the guild. Mm-hmm. So if that boycott happens, no Matt Reeves Batman, that's one. That's going to be in the middle of production.
Matt Reeves' Batman was moved to 2022, so that's far enough. It's not part of this deal. It was all the 2021 movies and Wonder Woman 84.
Well, that aside, you could have directors that are part of the guild that are nowhere near Warner Brothers. But if they're part of the Directors Guild, the president of the Directors Guild can create an edict and just basically be like, we're not dealing with any Warner Brothers stuff. Yeah. And so anybody that's part of the guild can't accept any offers from Warner Brothers. Yeah. And if if any of the other guilds like SAG or IATSE or the Writers Guild, or if any of them start to jump in, which is entirely possible, then you're really talking about a disastrous situation for Warner Brothers, where they really aren't going to be able to get any films made with anybody that's involved with any of these unions.
Yeah. We'll have to wait and see here. So, all right. So I'm looking at the clock right now. I figured we've been promoting this show for so long, and what was the thing we were promoting? And by the way, I'm in my festive little mode right now, and first and foremost, before we get to our rage debate,
thought that was your hair this whole time. That's
no, it's my Black Santa hat. I just want to show off my sweater to everybody. This is my favorite Christmas movie. It says "Merry Christmas, you filthy animal." Home Alone is my favorite Christmas movie of all time, and I'll take that to my grave. So, gentlemen, please, pretty please, share your favorite Christmas movie of all time, and why is it not better than Home Alone? Go ahead. Whoever wants to go first.
Davis, you go first.
Well, so my favorite Christmas movie is Jingle All the Way, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I love Arnold.
Oh yeah, you gotta love Arnold, and I really like how it's the type of movie you would not expect to see him in, yet he pulls it off so well, and actually serves as a precursor to some of his future movies like Maggie. It's something you totally wouldn't expect from Arnold, yet he pulls it off incredibly well. Arnold's got range, and Are we doing Rage in the Cage right now or what?
Yeah, we're about to take it to the cage. We're about to take it to the cage. So, Mark,
is there like some sort of like?
Yeah, there's a segue. That's okay. There's a segue to the cage. So, Mark, name your favorite Christmas movie, and why is it not better than Home Alone?
Okay, so right off the bat, like I'm just gonna say, like I don't really watch Christmas movies. I'm not a big fan of like that.
We got a Grinch in the house.
Yeah, so I'm a Grinch. Like I celebrate Christmas, and I'm all about like the Christmas season. But as far as Christmas movies go, I don't really go with Christmas movies. That said, I am a huge fan of Tim Burton. I'm a huge fan of animation. I'm a huge fan of all things dark and macabre. So I'm gonna go with Nightmare Before Christmas.
That being said, gentlemen, let's take it to the cage right now. Let's go!
Okay, ladies and gents, it's time for Rage in the Cage.
Finish him.
So strap in and join the fight in the comments below. Pick a side, Team Mark or Team J. Who will it be?
Rage in the Cage, baby! Team J repping Home Alone. Team Titangoji repping Jingle All the Way. And Team Mark with Nightmare Before Christmas. All right, here we go, here we go. Oh my goodness gracious, I've been anticipating this for a long time. So Titangoji being our guest here, and you're right in the middle of the cage right now. Make your case why the best Christmas movie of all time is Jingle All the Way.
Okay, so the best Christmas movies are the ones about family.
Sorry.
And in Jingle All the Way, you have Arnold playing a businessman named Howard, and he's having a bit of a tough relationship with his family, like mainly his son Jamie. And now sure, like it is understandable why Jamie would have like this disconnect with his father. I mean, he's always busy, never shows up to karate class or anything of the matter, and also lets his wife Liz down a bit. So and it's really one of those movies where, I mean, you like. It's like you really get like a good sense of like what's what's at stake here. Like I mean like we all make mistakes. We've all let people down one way or another, and we all tend to promise ourselves that it's never going to happen again. But alas, it just ends up it just keeps happening. But I mean, it's all part of life, and of course, in the end, Arnold does end up making rebuilding that good connection with his son and his wife by being Turbo Man at the end. And him like being Turbo Man at the end. It's I kind of find it pretty symbolic because everyone's got their favorite superhero, and Turbo Man was the superhero Jamie looked up to. And in a similar way, we also tend to look up to our parents as if they're like these almighty superheroes as well. But the movie makes it very clear that Howard isn't really like that. And just to kind of see Howard take on that persona at the end of the film is really heartwarming and just really touching. It's also a movie that, with me being a young adult, I'm a junior in college right now. It really makes me think, what example do I want to set for my children in the future? What kind of father do I want to be? How can I, what can I do to maintain, that great family dynamic, do everything in my power just to not let it fall apart. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that Jingle All the Way is a movie that absolutely anyone can relate to.
Wow, you know what? You just spun a whole new perception of that movie I've never heard from anybody.
Yeah, right.
So that's a pretty damn good argument. Mark, make your argument.
All right, so I will concur. Like, that was a great argument, and I am a fan of both of those movies, right? So I really like Jingle All the Way, and we had our retrospective on Home Alone, that 3-part series. That was super fun to do, and so I'm a fan of both of those movies. But as far as like the movie that I've picked, unlike the other two movies, the star of Nightmare Before Christmas is Christmas itself, right? So you have the main character, Jack Skellington, who runs Halloween Town, and everybody reveres him for how he can strike fear into the hearts of little kids. He accidentally finds himself in Christmas Town and falls in love with it. Falls in love with the idea of Christmas, of happiness, of joy. There's this amazing song that he sings when he sees snow for the first time, which makes me think about the time when I was seeing snow for the first time as a little kid. You know what I mean? Like, there's all these little moments that really are definitive Christmas moments that are brought up in a new and exciting way that is juxtaposed by this character that is incredibly macabre, like a group of characters that are macabre, that are trying their best to recreate this holiday that they don't even understand. You know, like there's the scene in, where Jack calls a meeting and he's trying to explain to them what a present is. Like, oh, you have this box. Oh, do you put shrunken heads in it? You put a stocking on the wall. Does the foot stay attached? Like, they don't get like what makes Christmas special, but they're all in on the idea of doing it. And this sense of community that comes out of them trying to recreate that, and even in the moment where Jack feels that he's failed, he's actually won, because the point of him even doing it is to create the joy of Christmas itself. And so to me, that is like the hallmark of a Christmas movie. And that's why I think it's the best one.
Wow, dude, I underestimated Mark tonight. I thought he was gonna be like gonna fall into my trap. So before I get to why Home Alone's the best of all time, let's go to the chat right now. You guys are amazing. Look at that. So Brian agrees with you, Mark. Shay Smithers says, "Give me a Christmas story." That's one that everyone knows. Scribes with me. One. Adams with me. He gets it. He's in his 30s. He gets it. He says Home Alone. Cindy, of course, the lovely Cindy Lou Withers is gonna say Team Mark. She's doing good by you. And then we got some. Let's see. Cat F says Christmas Story is. Paul Tackett says the Star Wars holiday. You guys are amazing, dude.
You can't shade Star Wars holiday special 100% because it introduced us to Boba Fett. So you gotta give it.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, you gotta at least give it respect for that.
Shay Smithers also says Die Hard and Gremlins. Those are good ones. Like, my gosh. And Follow on Gaming, our moderator says the Santa Claus. You guys are amazing. This is why we love doing Rage Cage, because we want to hear what you guys think. But listen, Home Alone is undoubtedly the greatest Christmas movie of all time. And you want to know something, Mark? You unknowingly didn't realize that this whole time, this Home Alone surge that we're seeing all over the place, Mark, you played a big role in that. You did that retrospective with us, and we kept getting all these messages from everybody across the world saying, oh my God, that was a great look back you did. I'm going to go buy Home Alone right now, and oh my God.
Awesome.
So, like, Mark unknowingly just was part of this Home Alone surgence that's been happening this past month because of NerdCage Live.
And I didn't even want to do it. Remember, like, we were like talking about, like, yeah, we got to do a Home Alone look back. I was like, Home Alone? What? Like, no, I don't want to do that. And you're like, come on.
And you
But it was
unknowingly
so much fun.
fresh in people's minds. And you know what? Yes, Home Alone is here's why. Because it's about family, okay? You know, you got this little Kevin McAllister just like, I want my family to disappear. And then he's like Home Alone. He's having a good time and this, and that. But then at the end, he misses his family. And, of course, we have the two of the most iconic Christmas characters of all time. I'm talking about the Wet Bandits. I mean, come on now. The Wet Bandits are a huge role in that movie. And the goddamn Uncle Frank and that crazy family, Buzz and all that. And, of course, you guys are forgetting the one-liners, okay? I know, Titangoji, I know you got the put the cookie down. No! But the one-liners in Home Alone stand to the test of time. You know, Buzz, your girlfriend, Wolf, Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. Like, Home Alone is like the most quotable Christmas movie. And again, it's a time capsule. You know what? We did a 30th anniversary look back. Want to know something? 50 years from now, another 20 years from now, whatever, 100 years from now, people are going to look back at this movie. Home Alone is going to stand the test of time more so than A Wonderful Life, more than Scrooge. Yes, I said it. Home Alone is going to stand the test of time forever.
Tell us how you really feel about the movie.
I came here to win, baby. So round two. Titangoji, come on, counterpunch us. What do you got?
Okay, so I just want to say that Jingle All the Way is a film that actually aged better as time went on.
No,
because that movie is not only is about family, it's also about consumer culture. Now nowadays, consumer culture, it's everywhere. Now, and being like a product of the '90s, you have like Marvel characters plastered all over the place. Now you see Marvel characters plastered all over the place, and now everyone's trying to get like the hot new thing. And in Jingle All the Way's case, it's Turbo Man. Everyone wants a fucking Turbo Man. Like how this year everyone wants a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox One Series X whatever it's called, Triple X. So yeah, and yeah, and again, you know, and also going back to the whole theme of family, with Arnold trying to like reestablish this, you know, connection with his family, you know, him being busy all the time. He's completely out of the loop on like this Turbo Man character, like the Turbo Man show, the characters and all that. Like he doesn't know a thing about it until like his son Jamie straight up says, "I want the Turbo Man action figure with little rockets, the jetpack, and little voice box where he says it's turbo time," and like. And then later when Arnold's wife asks him if he got the Turbo Man doll, like, you know, he didn't get that doll. And he's like, "Oh, I forgot the Turbo Man doll, of course." So he pretty much lies about getting it, and then she's like, "Good, because they're probably like super hard to find now." And then that's when the ball gets rolling.
Okay, very compelling.
Fatality.
So, Mark, come on. Where's your counterpunch at?
So yeah, defense rests, man. Like everything that I think is great about Nightmare Before Christmas, I said in the first round. I think that the star of the movie is Christmas. It helps us to take a look at the things that we love about Christmas, from the traditions to the feeling to the excitement that we have for it, even just breaking down like each moment, each little iteration of what what each of us like has as far as like Christmas traditions and things like that, and our own understanding of it, our own love for Santa, like, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's really all I have to say about it, man. I don't really have anything extra to add.
Okay, so I'm gonna close with this. All right, I'm just gonna deliver the KO punches right now. All right, Jingle All the Way. Okay, great. It's a nice little Christmas movie. But you know what? It's a movie about Arnold getting cucked by his neighbor.
But he doesn't get cucked though.
And Mark, let me tell you something. Nightmare Before Christmas is not even Tim Burton's best Christmas movie. Batman Returns is Tim Burton's best Christmas movie. So,
well, see, that's an argument that we had last week. I don't think that it's a Christmas movie because you can take the Christmas element out of it and it's still like a badass Batman movie.
Yeah,
I think that Christmas needs to be at the forefront for it to be considered a Christmas movie.
And I just feel that A Nightmare Before Christmas feels more of a Halloween movie than Christmas. That's all. That's all, because
I think the difference there is that the whole point of Nightmare Before Christmas is that you're trying to make Christmas happen. So if you take the Christmas element out of it, it's just a normal day for Jack Skellington. It's not a movie. But like if you took like a movie like Batman Returns or Bridget Jones's Diary and you just set that at any other time of the year, well, you still have a movie there. Yeah. And that's kind of what I'm saying is the difference. Now with Home Alone, I can consider that a Christmas movie because
it is a Christmas movie and it's the best one.
Marley
Team J all the way.
Is trying to get his family, he's trying to reconcile with his family for Christmas. And that's the whole point of the side story. And I can definitely respect that. You know what I mean? And for me, I do get those Christmas feels because it has all the hallmarks of Christmas. It has snow, tree, fake Santa, has all that good stuff in it. So in that respect, Home Alone is definitely a Christmas movie. Batman Returns, no, definitely not.
But yeah, Home Alone's the best because you know what? It's just everything's there. It's about family. There's the slapstick. It's an enjoyable overall movie, and I just feel like you can't have Christmas without Home Alone, especially in the past 30 years. It's grown into like pop culture everywhere. That's why I got the sweater on. That's why people have been demanding this movie more and more. My best friend, Ryan Baker, if you're here, he just showed it to his kids, and they're like 5, and like they fell in love with it. Like this is gonna stand the test of time. And like I said, with all it's a complete movie. It's got a great score, a great build-up. Macaulay Culkin is miles above any child actor that ever walked the earth. Like the movie's got everything, and it's just and the one-liners. I mean, what hasn't been said already? If you guys want to go really, really, really deep into Home Alone, watch our 30th anniversary look back. Sorry, shameful plug right there. And let me tell you something. Yes, John Candy is Satan, and yes, the old man Marley was Jesus Christ. So you know what? If people want to take it that far, it's got some of the religious elements in there, but the more importantly, it doesn't matter what religion you come from. Everyone can relate to this movie because at the end of the day, it's about family. Family is more important than presents at the end of the day. Even though the McAllisters have everything, it seems. I wonder how they got all that money. Cough, cough. He's a mobster. Anyway, it's Christmas is not.
I have an answer for that. So I actually rewatched it the other day, and so it's not like, remember we brought up one of the points was like, oh, well, how are they able to afford this trip to Paris and they're flying first class and then they're able to fly back and there's no big deal? Well, the reason is because Kevin's dad didn't pay for the trip. His brother who lives in Paris paid for it. So what is his brother? Maybe his brother's a mob boss or a drug lord.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm saying. Maybe he's getting all the drugs shipped from Paris across the ocean and eventually it goes into Chicago. Anyway, yes, but that's a good one. But anyway, finally, everybody, I want to know what your Christmas movie is, but between these 3 movies, come on, go Team J all the way. Team J all the way, let's go. That is my closing argument, so yes, there you have it. That's all I got, and Titan, come on, give your closing argument.
I didn't even mention Sinbad.
Sinbad
is funny in that movie. And I also really like how he pretty much plays like a worse version of Arnold's portrayal of Howard. He's very, very bitter. You can tell he does not get along well with anyone. He thinks, Christmas is like a huge scam because capitalism and whatnot. And deep down, they both really want to get this Turbo Man doll, and it makes for some pretty hilarious moments. The one that comes to mind is when there's that radio station that says, if you can name all of Santa's reindeer, then you can get a free Turbo Man doll. And then it's like a mad dash to this radio station. They're trying to get that goddamn Turbo Man, and then out of nowhere, Sinbad comes with this package. He says that it's a bomb. He's doing everything he can just for that Turbo Man, which also pretty much plays into the whole consumer culture aspect of the film. Everyone's willing to shell out all of this stuff just for one measly little thing, and then it turns out to actually be a bomb, and it also makes for some pretty pretty funny quotes in that movie. After the bomb goes off, Sinbad's all, really was a bomb. This is a sick world full of sick people. and speaking of quotable lines, we did mention put that cookie down. No. There's also, where's your Christmas spirit? When the store workers are laughing at Arnold because he's trying to find the Turbo Man doll. They're all laughing at him because, there's no way you can get that. And then there's Paul White, the Big Show, all dressed up as Santa, and he's all, "Deck your halls, Bob."
Can I point something out real quick before we get to Mark's closing argument? I want to point out a quick fun fact there. The fact that Jingle All the Way's got two major Simpsons characters, Phil Hartman, the cuck neighbor there, that is Troy McClure. Hey, this is Troy McClure. And then, you ready for this one? I don't know if anyone knew this. The scene in Jingle All the Way where that one lady who kind of hit on Arnold and she gives him the toy and it turned out to be like the pink guy or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Booster, yeah.
You know who that lady was?
It was a voice actress for Bart Simpson.
Correct? No, Lisa. That was Lisa Simpson.
Right. Okay.
I just want to point that out. That's just some fun facts there. So Mark, come on, one last closing argument, Mark. Come on, finish him.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not a Christmas guy, so I don't really have much of a closing argument. I'll just, you know what I mean? I'll just say that the reason why I wouldn't pick Home Alone is because you kind of have to be like a little kid to watch it the first time to have the nostalgia.
What are you saying, Mark?
Well, the same thing that I said in our podcast, which is most people that love Home Alone saw it when they were little. I was 19 when it came out. So while I recognize that it's a good Christmas movie, I don't love it because I wasn't little and couldn't connect with Kevin McAllister the way that a fifth grader could. So that's what I'm saying is that is not a movie that necessarily has something for everybody. And
wrong.
How would you know? How would you know? Because you were what? How old were you when you saw it?
4.
I was 19. So this is what I'm saying. I don't think that that's correct. So that's all I'm saying. That's what I'm gonna close out. But I will say this: I need to mention an honorable mention, right? So
yeah, I got one too. Go ahead.
All right, so I have an honorable mention. My honorable mention is a movie called Rise of the Guardians. It's an animated film. I actually really love this film because it's, for anybody who hasn't seen it, it's basically the Justice League, but with all childhood characters. So you have Santa Claus, you have the Easter Bunny, you have Jack Frost, Sandman, the Tooth Fairy, and they're all basically superheroes. and they're fighting.
It's like the super best friends on South Park. Almost.
Essentially, yeah, it's essentially that. So, and they're basically like they're fighting this supervillain who wants to basically spread fear throughout the land and make it so that children don't believe in any of these characters. It's not necessarily a Christmas movie. I don't know if I would call it a Christmas movie, but Christmas is a big part of it. It's a big part of the forefront. It takes place there. Jack Frost, who is like a winter character, is like the main character, and it's basically his origin story as a guardian. And so yeah, I kind of like that movie better than the three that we mentioned, but I wanted to pick a movie that was definitively Christmas, and that's why I picked the one that I.
Yo, Davis, do you have a honorable mention?
Eyes Wide Shut.
Okay.
Though that's really more for last week's Rage in the Cage. And while Eyes Wide Shut technically is a Christmas movie, you can make the argument that it is, but it's not really a Christmas movie. So that's just my honorable mention. Okay,
I have one honorable mention. We'll get out of the cage. Okay, so Follow One Gaming, if you're still in here, we saw this movie together a few years ago, but what another movie that I've made it mandatory viewing for me personally in the last few years, and I fell in love with this movie because it made me laugh so hard, and it still does, is a movie called The Night Before with Seth Rogen. Who's there that plays Falcon there? Mackenzie.
Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Great movie about three childhood friends who go out and party and get high before Christmas. That's just basically it in a nutshell. Oh yeah, and Michael Shannon is in it as a drug dealer. Like,
nice.
You guys have got to watch that movie. I've kind of made it again. It's like been a tradition for me for the last few years. Hold on, let me go grab it. It's right here. If anyone can see that, this movie is.
We can only see the bottom. Pull it out. Just a little bit more.
The chat can see it, but if it's a little down to you guys, you can see it right here. But yeah, it's a fantastic Christmas movie for adults only. Let me repeat that: for adults only. So, so yeah, if you want, celebrate Christmas the way I do by watching Home Alone during the daytime and watch The Night Before at night, that's Christmas right there, baby. All right, that was awesome. So let's get out of the cage and let's open up the floor for a little bit. What do you say, guys?
Yeah, that's good.
Whoop. That was a great cage match. I don't know how much I made the sexual tyrannosaurs bleed like I said I would, but I feel like I put a few dents in there.
I feel like you might have won that round actually. If I'm being straight with you, like I actually you were bringing me over. I was like, Home Alone kind of is. No.
Yeah, I'm just that charming. I have that effect on people.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. I think it was the hat. It was very distracting. I was like, when did Jay change his hair, man? Like I thought that was like.
All right, so guys, let's open up the floor for a little bit here before we end the show here. So if you guys have any questions you want to ask Titangoji or guys, hey, look at that, my mother's here. She's like Christmas Carol. Well, hello,
yeah.
Mama St. G. Nice to see you in here. I haven't seen you here in a while. All
awesome.
Right. Sorry, I'm just looking at the chat right now. No. So, Titan, what do you got, man? Is there anything you want to just open up the floor a little bit?
How about all this news, surrounding, the upcoming third MCU Spider-Man movie?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We totally forgot to. We got so into it with that HBO Max, and that totally like slipped our mind here, or at least slipped my mind anyway. So
like very recently, Alfred Molina is confirmed to be coming back as Doc Ock.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then there has been talks of Jamie Foxx returning as Electro. I mean I can't remember if that was confirmed, but apparently he has been talking about it.
Yeah. So I don't. Yeah, I'm like you. Like I have not read where it's definitive that he's coming back as Electro. And the interview that I read with him, and this has been a while back, so maybe some things have changed. But the interview that I read with him, where he was asked specifically about it, his only response was, "Let's just say that I won't be blue this time." So I don't know what that means. Like, does that mean that he's going to be a different version of Electro, or does that mean he's going to be in the movie, but he's not playing Electro?
Yeah,
like, so
that could honestly mean anything.
Right. And again, that was, I don't know, when I read that was like maybe 8 weeks ago. So a lot of things may have changed, and maybe that news has been defined, but I haven't seen it anywhere where it's like, yeah, he's for sure a lock in playing Electro.
Yeah, and apparently Tobey Maguire has purportedly been spotted at costume fitting is what people are saying. It's the use of costume that makes it pretty interesting, because because there are rumors that not only him but also Andrew Garfield and Kirsten Dunst are going to be in this upcoming Spider-Man movie, returning as their respective Spider-Man and Mary Jane Watson.
Right.
Honestly, I think this is just them trying to find like a fast way to the City 6.
Sinister Six? You mean?
Sinister Six?
Sinister Six. Right? Sinister
like, what?
Yeah.
Sidious?
Yeah, no, Sinister Six. Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh my god, every nerd's ready to assassinate me now. Yeah, no, like I said, Sinister Six. I mean, they pretty much have all of them like lined up for, or at least, I mean, if you want to count Gyllenhaal's character, but I feel like they got them all there. So.
Oh yeah, pretty much. And there's also rumors that Charlie Cox is returning as Daredevil for the movie.
I had heard that too, but if you look at the source, it's from like a small like movie news website.
It's We Got This Covered, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, no,
well, comicbookmovie.com.
Yeah, I would dismiss it out of hand if it was them. It was like Murphy's something. I don't remember the name of it, but if it's a small movie news website that is like hit or miss with their scoops and stuff like that. So I'm not saying that it's not true, but until like I see that in like Deadline or like The Verge or something like that, Vanity Fair, like if it comes out in like a bigger outlet, then I'll kind of believe it, which I feel like maybe in a week or two that probably will happen.
Yeah, because I mean, I absolutely love the Netflix Daredevil series, and when I saw that pop up in my Twitter feed, I was like, God, don't play with me like this.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to see them bring in Kingpin, because I feel like you can't have a Sinister Six without Kingpin, and I want to see. I know Kingpin's more of a Daredevil villain, but Spider-Man's gone against Kingpin, so.
Oh yeah.
I hope. I mean, I do have some concerns. Like, it sounds like there's gonna be a lot that they're cramming into this movie.
That's my worry.
It's
my worry is that it's like, I don't know if any of you have seen the Crisis on Infinite Earths that CW did this past season. Like, they did a series of leaks exactly like this, where they were like, Tom Welling is coming back as Clark Kent, and Kevin Conroy is going to play a live-action Batman, and Brandon Routh is coming back as Superman, and Burt Ward is coming back as Robin. It was like every few days there was like a leak like that, where it was like, whoa, they're doing this massive like multiverse thing. It's going to be amazing, and it raised your expectations, but then when you saw it, it was like a mess. And all of these appearances were very short. They served no narrative purpose for the story. They were just like appearances like, hey, I'm Burt Ward. Remember me from the 60s Batman? Like, it was like kind of like that. They were just like these 2-second appearances. So my worry is that we're hearing these announcements and we're creating this big expectation for like a Spider-Verse, where it might just be like just little cameos here and there, where they're just there for sort of fan service, where we're not really going to get like a real story attached. I'm not saying that that's definitely what's going to happen, but I kind of have the scars from watching that Crisis thing, and that's where I feel like it's headed.
Hey, just real quick, shout out to the chat here. Ian Lewis, thank you for coming in. Appreciate it.
Ian, what's going on, man? That's my homie from Miami.
Nice, awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. I just want Shinji Toto to come back as Japanese Spider-Man.
Oh man. Well, that was something that I brought up to a friend of mine. Like I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday about like the whole like the prospect of like having the 3 Spider-Men. And I was like, well, they really couldn't call it a multiverse unless you brought in like the Japanese Spider-Man, unless you brought in Nicholas Hammond from the 70s Spider-Man TV show.
Oh yeah.
You know, like you got to bring in all of them, like Morgan Freeman from like when he's played Spider-Man on the Electric Company. Like, like you gotta bring them all in, you know, like, so not that they're going to do that, you know what I mean? But I would actually be intrigued if they tried something like that. Bring in Lou Ferrigno as like the 70s Hulk.
Well, I mean, or actually, is he still doing? Wait, did he still do motion capture for the Hulk in Endgame, or
in which one? In
Endgame. Endgame. I know they actually brought Lou Ferrigno to do the motion capture for the Hulk, and I was wondering if he was still him in Endgame.
I don't know. All this time I kind of thought it was
Ruffalo.
Who plays Banner? Like who?
Ruffalo.
I always thought it was Ruffalo.
They have Mark Ruffalo's like face for the facial movements and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's just for like the model. They have Lou Ferrigno in like this little contraption thing.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense if that's what they did. Yeah, hopefully that's the case.
Now, Doctor Strange is coming out. Doctor Strange 2, the Multiverse of Matt, that's coming out before Spider-Man 3, right?
Yes,
I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I was saying Sam Raimi's doing that one too, or is he?
That's right. Yeah. He is directing it.
So I think we're gonna get shades of like this is gonna lead up to Spider-Man. That's just my prediction. And Mark, can you just talk about what we talked about a few months ago? Your theory on Tom Holland. You talked about it with Dion. About how you think that Tom Holland's not the true Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
No, Davis, you gotta hear this.
This is my wacky fan theory. So, I'm as you can see from the stuff behind me, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I grew up reading comics and cartoons and all that stuff. So
Tom Holland is actually Ben Reilly.
Thank you. Yes, that is what I was getting at. So,
okay, all right.
and I have like some reasons behind my theory, right? The first one being that in Civil War, when Tom Holland's Spider-Man is first introduced, when he's like talking to Tony Stark, and Tony Stark's like, "Well, why are you doing this?" When he's like explaining like his origin, like he says, whatever happened to me happened. Instead of saying, "Oh, when the spider bit me," so it like kind of implies that he doesn't know how he got his powers. He's just like, "Well, when whatever happened, this is what I decided to do." You know what I mean? There's no mention of Uncle Ben in the entire trilogy. It's like he never existed. There's just him and Aunt May. Like they never bring him up. There's never like this sense of responsibility because of what happened to Uncle Ben. And it's almost like they're trying. I mean, and the simple explanation is that like they just decided to do a version of Spider-Man where Uncle Ben never existed. But what if this isn't actually Peter Parker? And what if like this version of Aunt May isn't the real Aunt May, and they only have composites of these characters? It would explain why he doesn't really know that much about himself, and it would explain why we don't see glimpses of the classic Peter Parker that, you know, is the sort of like the mechanical genius that creates his own like gadgets, creates a spider tracer, creates his web shooters. You know what I mean? Like,
it's
you know what I mean? He gets all of his tech from like Stark.
I see you, Davis.
That's a really good theory, honestly.
Yeah.
Yo, shout out to Authentic. Just want to say shout out to Authentic. He's from the Giants YouTube community. Thank you for coming in, man. Appreciate it. And check out his channel if you want to catch up. His Giants content is fire, dude, for real. But yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but yeah, I just want to throw that shout out.
No, I was pretty much done. You know what I mean? Like, that's just kind of like a thing. Like, I spend way too much time in the car driving. I have a long drive to work, like an hour-long drive.
What you say makes sense, though, with everything that's unfolding.
Overthink these things.
But everything that's unfolding right now, your theories beginning to make more sense as time goes on, especially with the rumors of all the stuff happening in this third movie.
Right.
Yeah, and I'll also admit that, like, while I'm watching, like, the MCU Spider-Man movies, like, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I see Spider-Man, but is this really Peter Parker?
Right.
And now, and now with you bringing up this whole Ben Reilly theory, like, it honestly makes some sense.
Right.
Yeah, like,
that's what we do here on this channel.
Yeah.
You know, the fan theories and debates and like speculation. That's what the NerdCage is all about, yo.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And the last piece that I'll bring up is that the suit that he wears before Stark gives him the Spider-Man costume.
It looks a lot like the Scarlet Spider.
Yeah. To me, it looks like it's like an actual like shout out to the Scarlet Spider costume.
Oh yeah,
so
like
that's
like,
what makes
like especially with like the sleeveless hoodie and everything.
Right.
I don't know. I'm really excited about Doc Ock though coming back because to me, hands down, he was the best live action on screen villain we got in any of the Spider-Man movies. And I feel like I feel like outside Into the Spider-Verse, which I feel like it's its own thing. But among all the live action movies, I feel like Spider-Man 2 is the best one still.
Yes.
Yeah, I concur. I definitely agree with that. I know that you'd mentioned that you think that this like confluence of like things that are setting up for like a multiverse, that it's a big setup for the Sinister Six.
Yes.
Can't even say that right. But what I think it is sort of like it's part of a longer term plan to blend the Sony universe with the MCU, because now you can bring in Venom and have Venom go against Spider-Man. You can bring in Morbius and have him go against Blade. You even have the Vulture in the Morbius trailer, which kind of like implies that something happens after this multiverse of madness where some of these things are permanent. So that's a theory that I have. I don't know if that's where they're going, but that's
and also in the trailer for Morbius, in the background of one of the shots, you see like a picture of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. Now,
right.
And now it's technically it's a screenshot of the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man game with the Sam Raimi like costume on, but
and it says murderer underneath, like it has somebody graffitied the word murderer on it, so that implies that like the events that happened in Far From Home, where everybody thinks that he was behind all those attacks, that now that people just think that he's a villain, and so to me that makes sense, where they're just trying to blend all of these things.
Yo, we got breaking news.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, Mark, but Brian from Monstrosity just said Disney Marvel just announced a new Fantastic Four movie to be directed by John Watts, director of Spider-Man.
Yes.
Wait, what?
I'll repeat that. Disney Marvel just announced new Fantastic Four movie to be directed by John Watts.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, here's hoping it's good.
Well, that
movie is so cursed. I'm sorry. I'm with you. I hope it's good.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, John Watts as a director to me is good. Like, I enjoyed the first Amazing Spider-Man, not so much Amazing Spider-Man 2, but I thought the Amazing Spider-Man 1 with Andrew Garfield was great.
Mark Webb was the director of the Amazing Spider-Man films.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
my bad.
John Watts is Homecoming and Far From Home.
Oh, okay. Still awesome. Still good, though. I always get those two confused. I don't know why I do that. Probably just the Spider-Man thing. But I always get those two confused. I always think that John Watts was the one that did the second iteration.
I think the casting of the Fantastic Four is going to be more interesting than the director here. And I want to talk about another thing, too. I'm surprised. It's been very quiet lately, and it's kind of bothersome. But when they announced that there was going to be a Blade in the MCU with Mahershala Ali, like, I'm really... Listen, Blade's still one of my favorite movies of all time. But I would love to see Blade, this new Blade, go up against Morpheus. Jared Leto's Morpheus. Yep. So I'm hoping with all this Spider-Man stuff going on right now, I hope they can squeeze in Blade somewhere in there. I want to see Blade and Spider-Man on screen together, because when I was a kid, that 90s cartoon, my introduction to Blade wasn't the movie. My introduction to Blade was the Spider-Man cartoon.
The cartoon.
When he wanted to kill Morpheus and Peter Parker's like, no, that's my friend. Like, that was so awesome back in the day. And with Morpheus coming in, I would like to see Morpheus, Mahershala Ali, and Spider-Man clash on screen together. Just wishful thinking.
That would honestly be really cool.
Yeah, it would be cool. But that's what I think. I think, you know what I mean? Like, I of course, I'm only speculating, but I think this whole idea of a multiverse of madness is a way for them to kind of blend these two universes in a permanent setting, so that now, like, maybe you don't get Blade a whole lot in this movie, but now going forward, when there is a Blade movie, maybe you get Spider-Man in that, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, because see you, but like you would get Morbius in that, you know what I mean? So that's kind of what I think. Plus, like, when there was talks of like Olivia Wilde doing a spider-centric movie, you know, she brought up that she couldn't say a whole lot because of Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
So if you're doing stuff with Sony, what does Kevin Feige have to do with it? You know what I mean? So that's kind of, I think that's their plan. I think that's what they're doing.
Oof. Wow. So breaking news and a lot of discussions and speculations on Spider-Man. Holy smokes.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So I'm just looking at the time here. I'm just respecting everybody's time. Davis. I have to ask this question. I ask all of our guests, would you like to come back into the cage?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I feel like there's so much more we can freaking talk about. So Davis, I want to give you the floor for a minute, and keep in mind, everybody, all the links for all of Titangoji's projects and his Twitter and everything out on YouTube is in the description below. So Davis, I want to give you the floor for a couple minutes here. If anything you want to say, anything you want to promote.
Okay, I just want to say that it was awesome. Getting to be on here talking about Christmas movies, Spider-Man, like all this Warner Brothers stuff with you guys. And again, my name is Davis Medill, also known as Titangoji. I'm a content creator on YouTube where I do movie reviews on numerous tokusatsu works, as well as some anime here and there. I'm working on a review for Neon Genesis Evangelion in honor of in honor of reaching one of my goals on Patreon. And to coincide with that, I'm also going to be reviewing its finale movie, The End of Evangelion. And coinciding with that, I'll be uploading a little commentary track that I did with Yoko Higuchi for The End of Evangelion. That will be exclusive only to my Patreon supporters, specifically those who are subscribed to the exclusive content tier on my Patreon. And for those who are unable to support me on Patreon and watch or listen to that commentary track, I'll be uploading like a supercut version of that commentary track as well. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got going.
Awesome. And yeah, like I said, all the links are below: Facebook, Twitter, the YouTube page is Patreon, his Tee Public.
Speaking of Tee Public, I did upload 3 new shirt designs. I uploaded Team Kong and Team Godzilla t-shirts, and I also uploaded a design that celebrates the 55th anniversary of Ultraman. That whole franchise is turning 50. Wait, no, not 50th. It turns 55 next year. Yep, from 1966 to 2021. So yeah, check those out.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, Davis, we had an absolute freaking blast with you, man. I was like anticipating this for months. I'm so glad you came in. And again, I just want to say to you and everybody here, congratulations again on reaching 11,000 subscribers, man.
Thank you.
all that hard work you do.
Yeah.
And listen, man, you're in such a great position right now, not only just with YouTube, but like, you know, your career and your studying and all that, man. I wish at 20 years old I was in your position, man, because you're going to do such great things here, man, between what your career is going to be and your YouTube channel and everything else, man. And it's just awesome, like, you know, seeing you, like, do all these great things. And, yeah, and I really, really hope if there is, in fact, a G-Fest next year, I hope we can actually hang out this time, because you were bombarded, and I didn't want to, like, fanboy over you when I met you at G-Fest. So I'm glad we got to know each other through Matt and Monstrosity here doing these After Dark streams that we've been doing, but I hope we get a chance to hang out at G-Fest if there's a G-Fest next year, for real, man, because it's, and like I said, I enjoy all your damn content. And I do have a request, though. I know I'm the low-level Patreon, but, man, I can't wait to see you review the Daimajin trilogy. That's what I want to see you do.
I've actually considered getting around to doing the Daimajin trilogy. Now, speaking of movie trilogies of monster movies from Daiei, I recently hit the goal where I'll be reviewing the Yokai Monsters trilogy, which is a trilogy of Japanese monster films that's more centered around like ancient folklore and whatnot. So that should be interesting.
Yeah, and one more thing, I just want to recommend to everybody, if you're not a kaiju fan or not into Japanese, that's okay, because I feel like Titangoji's channel is just perfect. If you just want a quick rundown of these Japanese films, you know, his reviews are, you know, his lookbacks and reviews are like really, really straight to the point. They're only a few minutes long, and he, you know, I really feel like if you're not into like tokusatsu or anything like that, or Japanese films, and you're just curious, I think he's like the best one to go to in regards to just getting a quick rundown, getting to know what these movies are. So yeah, so everybody please subscribe to Titangoji if you haven't already. And Mark, what do you got before we go?
Yeah, so I just wanted to thank Davis for coming in, man. Like, you know, we had an absolute blast here, just kind of like debating with you and talking about some of these topics. We really appreciate like speaking with somebody that knows a little bit about films and knows not only the kaiju stuff, the tokusatsu stuff, but, you know, knows a lot about this other facet of nerd culture that we love. You know, thanks to everybody in the chat again. You know, you guys keep coming back every week. We really appreciate that. As far as like other shows that we've got, you know, the other day we posted not only the video of our Home Alone episode 1 of our Home Alone podcast, that's up now, but we also have the audio version of the episode that we did on Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which we had an absolute blast making. I am a huge fan of wuxia, like old school Shaw Brothers martial arts films. To me, this was a callback to that. We spoke a lot about what we loved about Ang Lee and what we loved about this movie, and then also like a brief history of wuxia, brief history of some of the action aspects of that film. So please check that out. And this coming episode is going to be a 20th anniversary retrospective on Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
I've never seen.
It's one of my favorite films. It's like top 5 film for me of all time. So, you know, definitely look for that. We're going to be recording that this weekend. It'll be out sometime this coming week. So that's what I got.
All right, Davis, have you seen Oh Brother Out There?
I've not heard of it actually.
It's a film that came out in 2000, and it stars George Clooney and John Turturro, and it has a few other stars. John Goodman's in it, but it's basically, I
definitely gotta watch it now.
Yeah, it's an adaptation of the Odyssey by Homer. I don't know if you're familiar with that story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
So it's like not modern. It's set in the Depression era. It's set in the 30s, but it's an adaptation of that. Like you know, with these 3 escaped prisoners who are looking for a hidden treasure, and it's an adventure.
I cannot wait to watch. I'm
great.
Part of me is kicking myself in the head for not seeing it, but the other part of me is like, I'm excited to get to embrace it for the first time. And I just want to add to everything what Mark just said here. Next week is our final show of 2020. We are doing a Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge watch party with Master Daniel Pacino, who's great to come back. I cannot wait to watch this movie with Mark and Master Pacino. My mind's blown right now that we get to do that. And of course, if you guys don't know already, next month we are doing a Wonder Woman 84 watch party. So we have 2 watch parties coming up. We've never done them before. We're really looking forward. I hope everyone will, hang out with us and watch these movies with us. We're really, really looking forward to that. And again, thank you to everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome. You guys are the best chat, the best subscribers and fans ever. I know it's really generic to say, but you guys keep us motivated. You guys what make these streams worthwhile for real. I look forward to every week. I'm so glad you guys were a big part of my 2020. As crappy as 2020 was, this channel, Mark and everybody else, and everyone who's coming to these streams and everything to support us has been the best part of my year, hands down. So
here.
Again, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Davis, for coming in. So that being said, Mark or Davis, go ahead. What do you got?
Oh, I said no problem.
Oh, okay, thank you. So, that being said, before we go, we please ask you to like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and spread that shit like Silva. So, to USA, from Dallas, Texas, to Louisville, to Syracuse, to all of our friends and fans around the world at NerdCage Live, enjoy life, stay safe, and good night.
Sayonara.
Take it easy, y'all.
It has begun.
Trying to get out of the NerdCage, are ya? Well, before you go, hit that subscribe button. And if you're really intrigued, ring that bell. Thank you for dropping by. Until next time, tell everyone you know about NerdCage Live!
Thank you very much, everybody.